Yes, I need a haircut. But before that, I'm on a mission. And those who know me in life, they must have heard about it before. I met Dilip Jeste and his colleagues through a online lecture. You Google just Dilip Jeste. He has studied since 2007 the cultural history of wisdom, how it is interpreted, defined in different cultures worldwide. He's originally from India, but is a trained doctor and runs an institute for neurogerontology at San Diego University, I guess in Texas. What he has developed out of these studies is the San Diego Wisdom Index. You can find it online and just go through with it. It's a set of, I think, 25 questions, and you then choose just your answers and you will get a certain numbers. But through the questions that are also in the book, you will already get a slight hint what he and his colleagues think are the parameters of wisdom. Wisdom seems kind of like a funny thing to think about, because in academia, education, intelligence seems the highest ranked kind of like aim to go for. But intelligence and wisdom are not the same. You will learn and hear from it if you check any of Dilip Jeste's kind of online presentations. He normally starts with pretty the same kind of like PowerPoint, and you will get the core and find out whether you're interested to a step deeper. So I got this book for Christmas, and in contrast to many others who probably want to get mindful by reading 60 books about mindfulness, I'm now spending my morning times or somewhere on the train with Dilip and going pretty slow. No, what is it? Oh, April, through this book, repeating it, thinking it. But what helps me most is it explaining it to others. That can be kind of like excited by the excitement. But I think recently, last week, I had seen one of my former students, or our former students, and I think I got it pretty precise down. But okay, I will try my best. I think if we look at the content, this might be the best guidance to make you familiar with the parameters what wisdom coexists for. Empathy. Dilip calls here cultivating compassion. The interesting thing, if you exercise empathy, you actually profit for yourself. So helping others gives you a kind of inner reward system. So what I do once in a while is so-called random acts of empathy. You just run over to somebody and bring them a cake, or there is the trash bag in front of their house and they're not there, you carry it to the pick point. And these kind of random act of empathy, where sometimes the attacked person doesn't even know about it, I think it make you still kind of considering these acts and build them into in your kind of daily life. The next thing I got the worst index number from emotional regulation. And here it says with happiness. I'm not sure about that. Emotional regulation is you react to something, somebody poos in your front garden, or you find the poo and then you get really angry at it. So this is sometimes like a nice way to actually deal directly with it. Go up, get a plastic bag and carry it yourself over. And then you're actually over and can forget about it. You know? So same thing, he goes into a kind of motorist rage. That's a very nice exercise to think through. All these 80% are getting excited in traffic. But you could also use it kind of like the excitement we have when it gets down to political themes, the thing that we had recently kind of like finished off another thing. So you agitate and you can get used to make that a habit. So how to get out of this habit of permanently agitating yourself, being agitated, and then be in a state of rage. So that is emotional control where you actually break out. Yeah, if somebody drives fast in front of you, maybe they have a sick kid and they're on the way to the hospital. That's kind of one of the strategy to renegotiate this kind of like urgencies or that kind of like bad behavior that somebody might have done to you or not even towards you. Super important, particular for the curatory industry, is the balance between decision-making and at the same time being capable of accepting uncertainties. Invitation to an exhibition. 3 months before, they want to know, what's the title of your exhibition? What's the project about? And you just have give me a bloody break. But I have learned over the 25 years of practice, even if with every decision you actually narrow down the possibilities, you get a step closer to the actual outcome. And even if this is towards the administration or the curatorial, I think it's actually pretty, now I say healthy, or in Dilip's case, a kind of a wise way to narrow down the possibilities and define through the narrowing also the restricted field. Because if you can do everything, you can't do anything. And nevertheless, if suddenly the roof blows away from this Kunsthalle where you're showing, yeah, you need to find a way to keep things open and react. Yeah, suddenly you find something on the street or in a conversation, and then to be capable of taking that in and shifting, I think that's the second parameter I mentioned. So self-reflection is pretty self-explanatory, and that is something that can be combined with curiosity and humor. Humor as a method of an intelligent human species to deal with just problems. I don't want to make fun out of something what's happening right now, but there are made a lot of jokes now about a certain kind of aggressor in the world. That's actually a way to somehow, I wouldn't say embedded it, get through, but give it a frame. You can still study history and use the newspaper, but you can also make a joke. I think it's a kind of a complex balance between these kind of parameters, being informed, but being also capable to stay in a position that you can moderate a knowledge, moderate the circumstances. Self-reflection is this question, oh, could it have been me that did something wrong that happened? I think that puts it really nice straightforward. And now that's a bit more complicated thing, but I did welcome when I read the word spirituality. I think we are not getting rid of religion, but if we, then we try to, I think we are on the way to just replacing it. I think we more or less believe the same amount of things, or we don't believe in them. Of course, every theologist, every priest would kind of like insist that that is a different story, because it's not towards a higher, superior organization, authority that you need to believe in. So believing is, of course, a pretty standard method to make it to the next stage. So you assume you make it through the day and you wake up the next morning. If we are incapable of these kind of baselines believing, we might end up in a pretty kind of a skepticistic form of being. But spirituality as being in contact with yourself. And that is not only the mind. I think the mind is operating and you can have it there, but exercising the mind physically, fitness center, yoga, but just also walking, having this kind of like a relationship to your body where you operating the other things that are not just up here and understand them in their qualities and have a sense for it. But besides that kind of more inner word spirituality, there's also understanding where you are, what is the energy, what is the atmosphere, what is the situation, what are the conditions we are moving ourselves in a certain field to be in contact. I think that is still a loose term, but purely the idea to give spirituality as a place, I think, is a way to locate some uncertainties or other territories of learning and understanding beneath the mind. So these were, I hope I counted right, the 6 parameters of wisdom laid out in the publication WISER by Dilip Jeste, published together with Scott Laffey. And if you want to look more into things, there is a Center for Practical Wisdom at the Chicago University, run by Mr. Nussbaum. And so I was pretty surprised that such a thing exists as a faculty, and there are people involved in that kind of field of expertise. Yeah, so that's it for today. Have a very good day, and see you soon.